Yeah, I'll go get one for you. Yeah, yeah. Oh, you have one already?
We are thinking of you're always interested but she couldn't make it this morning.
That's okay.
We're going to go to a couple of services.
Great.
And
Great. We have all sorts of events coming up in all different sorts of organizations and a lot of stuff over Sukkot. And I'm doing an adult ed class. We're reading the entire book of Exodus on Tuesday evenings. There's a lot going on. Great.
I'm not retired yet.
Okay.
Coming back a little bit.
Sure. Oh, we would love to have that. Okay, let me know if you want to, after all the holidays are over, if you want to get a cup of coffee or something. There's a cafe here on campus. Okay? Yeah, sure. Boker Tov, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. I don't want to make anyone feel badly, but Alan Altschul was present for Pesukei de Zimmer this morning. So I just want, we're going to start earning, Alan, as they say in the Talmud, TMI. We're trying to drum up. We're trying to drum up.
What's that page in the Talmud?
That's right, exactly. It's in Mises.
Amud Gimel.
Amud Gimel. So anyway, we begin at 9:00, and if you come at 9:00, we have Danish and coffee. Rita Weber and Warren and Melinda are consistent stalwarts of the 9:00 shift, and so we just thank you for being there. And we're going to continue on page 147 with Shochenad.
Shochenad marom v'kadosh shemo v'chatuv rananu tzadikim baronai l'shuim navati elabakish. Uvekerev kedoshim titkadash uvmakalot rivevot amcha beit Yisrael berini apeshim. Al kol divrei shirot v'tishbechot David ben Yishai avdecha meshichecha. Please rise for Yishtabach on page 148. Yishtabach shimcha la'ad malkeinu el hamelech hagadol v'kadosh b'shamayim v'aretz kelech. Brachot v'yodaot me'atav yad olam baruch atah Adonai el melech gadol batishbachot el ha'odaot Adonai niflaot habocher b'shirei zimra melech el chei ha'olamim yitgadal v'yitkadosh shemei rabba v'yamad yivrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon u'v'yamechon v'chaydocho beit Yisrael Bagalau v'zman kariv v'yimeru Amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam u'le'omei omaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpor v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha brichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran b'yolema v'yimeru Amen.
The Baruch is on page 149.
Baruchu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or uvorei choshech Ose shalom uvorei et hakol. Hakol yoducha v'kol yishabchucha v'kol yimur kadosh.
You can all be seated.
אין קרקך ואין זולתך, אפס בלתך ומי דומה לך. אין קרקך, אדוני אלוהינו בעולם הזה, ואין זולתך מלכנו לחיי העולם הבא. אפס בלתך גואלנו לימות המשיח, ואין דומה לך מושיענו לתחיית המתים. אל אדון על כל המעשים, ברוך ומבורך בפי כל נשמה, גודלו וטובו מלא עולם, דעת ותבונה סובבים אותו, המתגאה על חיות הקודש, ונדר בכבוד על המרכבה, זכות ומישור לפני כיסו, חסד ורחמים לפני כבודו. טובים מאורות שברא אלוהינו, יצרם בדעת בבינה ובהשכל, כוח וגבורה נתן בהם, להיות מושלים בקרב תבל, מלאים זיו ומפיקים נוגה, נאה זיום בכל העולם, שמחים בצאתם וששים בבואם, עושים בימה רצון קונם, פאר וכבוד נותנים לשמו, צולה ורינה לזכר מלכותו, קרא לשמש ויזרח אור, ראה והתקין צורת הלבנה, שבח נותנים לו, כל צבא מרום, תפארת וגדולה, שרפים ויופנים וחיות הקודש, לאל אשר שבת מכל המעשים, ביום השביעי עליו ישב על כיסא כבודו תפארתו ליום המנוחה, עונג קרא ליום השבת זה. טוב להודות לאדוני, לפיכך יפארו ויברכו ביום. תתברך מושיענו על שבח מעשה ידיך, ועל מאורי אור שעשית יפרוך הסלע. תתברך צורנו, מלכנו וגואלנו, בורא קדושים. Top of 153. כולם אהובים, כולם ברורים, כולם גיבורים, וכולם עושים בימה וביראה רצון קונם, וכולם פותחים את פיהם בקדושה ובטהרה, בשירה ובזמרה, ומברכים ומשבחים ומפארים ומריצים ומקדישים וממליכים את שם האל המלך הגדול הגיבור והנורא הקדוש הוא. להקדיש ליוצרם בנחת רוח, בשפה ברורה בנימה קדושה, כולם כאחד עונים ואומרים ביראה, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ כבודו. והאופנים וחיות הקודש ברעש גדול מן השאים לעומת שרפים, לעומתם משבחים ואומרים, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו, לאל ברוך נעימות ייתנו, למלך החי וקיים המחדש בטובו בכל יום תמיד מעשה בראשית.
We're towards the bottom of 153.
אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכה כולנו מהרה ליורו. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות, אהבה רבה אהבתנו, אדוני אלוהינו חמלה גדולה ודרך עמלת עלינו, ונהנו לימינו להבין, להשכיל, לשמוע, ללמוד וללמד, לשמוע ולעשות לחיים מכל ביטוי, תורתך ביום. והארננו בתורתך, ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך, ויחד לבבינו לאהבה וליראה את שמך, ולא נבוש לעולם ועד, ולא נבוש לעולם ועד, כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא בטחנו, נגילה ונשמחה, נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך, והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ, לכנו קוממיות, קוממיות לארצנו, כי אל פועל ישועות אתה, ובנו בחרת מכל עם ולשון, וקרבתנו לשמך גדול סלע, סלע באמת, להודות לך ולייחדך, ולייחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, והיה אם שמעו תשמעו מצווה שעריך למצוותך. Bottom paragraph of the page, or middle paragraph. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor, daber el bnei Yisrael v'amarta alehem, v'yasu lahem tzitzit, al kanfei bigdeihem ledorotam, v'natnu al tzitzit, hakana petil techelet, ve'aya lachem, לציצית, וריתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו, ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת. יציב נכון וקיים ושקט ואמן. לדור ודור הוא קיים ושמו קיים וחיסו נכון, ומלכותו ואמונתו לעד קיימת. דור וחיים וקיים. גואלנו גואל אבותינו ואמותינו יוצרנו צור ישועתנו פודנו מצילנו מעולם שמך אין אלוהים זולתך עזרת אבותינו ואמותינו אתה הוא מעולם מגן ומושיע לבניהם אחריהם בכל דור ודור אשרי איש ישמע למצוותיך ותורתך דורך ישים על ליבו. תהילות לאל עליון ברוך הוא ומבורך משה ומרים ובני ישראל לכהנו שירה בשמחה רבה ואמרו כולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נדר בקודש נורא תהילות עושה פלא שירה חדשה שיבחו גאולים לשמך על שפת הים יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד צור ישראל קומה בעזרת ישראל ופתחנו ממך יהודה וישראל גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו קדוש ישראל ברוך אתה אדוני Gal Yisrael.
Amen. We'll continue with the Amidah along with the cantor for the first three brachot, beginning on page 159.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Agadol Agibor ve'Anora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Vekonei Akol Vezocher Chasdei Avot Ve'imahot Umevi Goel Livnei V'neihem Lema'an Shema Be'ahava Melech Ozer Ufoked Umoshia Umagen Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ufoked Sarah Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai Mechaye Metim Atah Rav Lehoshia Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed Mechaye Metim Berachamim Rabim Somech noflim v'rofeh cholim umatir asurim umekayem emunato lishenei afar mi chamocha ba'al gevurot umi domelach ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים נקדש את שמך בעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום ככתוב היד נביאך וקרא זה אל זה ויאמר קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוך כל הארץ כבודו אז בקול רעש גדול אדיר וחזק משמיעים קול מתנשאים לעומת שרפים לעומתם ברוך יאמרו ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו לי 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 די 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 לי די 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 לי 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 ממקומך מלכנו תופיע ותמלוך עלינו כי מחכים אנחנו לך מתי תמלוך בציון בקרוב בימינו לעולם ועד תשכון תתגדל ותתקדש בתוך ירושלים עירך לדור ודור לדור ודור ולנצח נצחים אוי ועינינו תראנה מלכותך כדבר האמור בשירי עוזך על ידי דוד משיח צדקך ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור הללויה לדור ודור נגיד גודלך ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד כי המלך קדוש וקדוש אתה ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
When you've concluded your Amidah, you can be seated.
יתקרא ויקרא שמי רבה, ביולמה דברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון ובימיכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו, אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם לעולמי עולמי. יתברך וישתבח ויתפור ויתרומם וינשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה, בריחו לי אלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בימה ויאמרו, אמן. תתקבל צלותון ובעלתון לכל ישראל קודם אבוהני וישמעיה ויאמרו, אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו, אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ויאמרו, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We'll encourage.
Need a microphone for them.
Shabbat Shalom. We'll encourage everyone now to stand up and find someone that you haven't yet had a chance to say good morning to. Maybe it's someone you haven't spoken to in a while, or maybe someone that you've not yet met, and just introduce yourself and share a highlight of your holiday season. So up and at 'em. I like this. He's even pushing my chain.
When you said up and Adam, what's the next line that comes after that? You said up and Adam, what's the next line that comes after that? It's a TV show. It comes from a TV show. A kid's TV show. Adamant. Up and Adam, Adamant. It's a kid's TV show. Adamant. Adam.
I've never heard about it, man.
Well, because you're in the generation that is below us, and you probably didn't watch it because the show was off the air when you were a kid. But when we grew up,
That was a popular
yeah,
show.
this did along with Mr. Magoo,
Ooh.
Gorilla.
Yeah. Up and at 'em, Adam Ant. I just said up and at 'em, Adamant. There you go. So we'll, if you're enjoying speaking to the person next to you, Shabbat Shalom. Umivorach. Shabbat. We have a nice Torah service coming up. I just read this morning that Parshat Ha'azinu, which is the last, penultimate, right? But it's the last Shabbat.
It's the last Shabbat.
Right. It's the last. It's the penultimate parsha, but it is the last Shabbat parsha because the last parsha obviously is read only on Simchat Torah. Not so obviously, but that is true. And then about Ha'azinu, which I just read this morning, that this is the only parsha that the breakdown of aliyot is mandated in rabbinic literature, and it's an acronym for something which I can't remember, but the breakdown is. Do you remember what it is?
Zion, it must be Hey, Zion, Yud, I don't remember.
Yeah, so it's Hey Zion, Hazinu, the parsha. Yeah. No, that doesn't sound.
Ha'azinu would have an olive.
Right. It's a phonetic. It's a phonological acronym. All right. Yeah. Anyway, actually, because that's with L. That's with. I know. We're a little light on material today after the high holidays, but they actually had they actually had auditory acronyms. So like the Samech and the Shin are often, like in El Adon, for instance, if you look at the acronym for El Adon, where it should be a Samech, it's a Shin. Smechim. It's a sin, but it's a shin, right? It's a sin, but so often they because people didn't have prayer books, so they interchanged their acronyms. Anyway, that's a side fun fact. How we're going to make that relevant to anything, I have no idea. But we're going to continue on page 168 with Seder Hotza'at HaTorah.
The other fun fact is this was my sister's bat mitzvah parsha. And when you think about the fact that, and it was Shabbat Shuvah, and it was yours too. You'll get to that later. But was yours Shabbat Shuvah? Or was this one? It was Shabbat after Yom Kippur? Like today.
It was after.
Hers was Shabbat Shuvah, and when you think about it, she being, and myself, being the daughter of a rabbi, you ask yourself, why in the world would a rabbinic family choose to have their daughter's bat mitzvah on Shabbat Shuvah?
Because your dad was so well prepared.
Yes.
He was ready to.
Thank you. That's a good answer. I'll go with that one. Okay.
That's right.
Ein kamocha va'elohim Adonai v'ein kema'asecha malchutecha malchut kol olamim umemshaltecha b'chol dor v'hador Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai yimloch li'olam va'ed Adonai yos li'amo yitain, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom, avarachamim, heitiv avirtzonecha et Zion, tivne chomot Yerushalayim, Tivne chomot Yerushalayim Ki vecha levad batachnu Melech el ram v'nisa Adonolamim. Vayehi bin Soah Aaron, Vayomer Moshe, Kuma Adonai, Veyafutsu oivecha, Veyanusu misanecha mipanecha, Ki mitzion Tetze Torah, Ki mitzion Tetze Torah. Udevar Adonai mi Yerushalayim, Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah, Le'amo Yisrael B'kedushato. Beyanarachet velishme kadisha kadisha yakira ana emar tushbechan beyanarachet beyanarachet velishme kadisha Kadisha Yakira Ana Emar Tushbechan Yehi Rava Kodamach Detiftach Libi Bioraita Vitashli Mishalin Delibi Veliba Decholamach Yisrael Letav ulechayin velishlam. Amen. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo. Gadlul Adonai iti uneram ema shemo yachtav lecha Adonai hagedula ve'agevura ve'atiferet ve'anetzach ve'ahod ki chol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz Ki chol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz lecha Adonai hamamlacha v'yamid na'aseh lechol rosh romimu romimu Adonai Eloheinu ve'hishtachavu ve'hishtachavu Lehadom Rav Kadoshu Ramimu Ramimu Adonai Eloheinu Vehishtachavu Vehishtachavu Lehar Kodsho Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu.
Shabbat Shalom. Since I already gave a brief introduction to the Parsha, we'll just go right into the reading this morning.
What, I don't get any more time to study, huh?
Do you need me? I can
No,
pull
it's all
out.
right. That's all right.
Shmini Atzeret. It is a chag unto itself.
Vayazor v'yagen v'yoshil l'chol ha'chosim bo v'nomar amen. Hakol avukod Eloheinu tnu kavod laTorah. Who's number one? Oh, hello. Oh, that's right. Buchim laTorah. Eli lev mi beit Gershon v'Gershon l'aliyah harishona. Baruch shenatan Torah li'amo Yisrael b'kedushato ve'atem madbikim b'Adonai Elohechem chayim kolachem hayom. And I want to announce the page and well,
I think it's, shall we? Okay. So we begin with chapter 32, verse 1, which you can find on page 1185.
yep. Well, all of my audio. There you go.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamparach.
Baruch Adonai Hamorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Barak Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher baruch rabanu mikol hamim. V'natan lanu et Torto. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Okay, non-high holiday trope. Okay, no. You have to go like this. Amen. Hasinu hashamayim v'tadabera v'tishma haaretz imrefi. Yarov kamatar likhi tizal katal imrati. Kisirim ale deshe v'chrivivim ale esev. Ki shem Adonai ekra havukod el Eloheinu. Hatzur tamim palo ki kol drachav mishpat. El emunah v'yein havel tzadik v'yashar hu. Shichet lo banav mumam dor ikesh ufetal tol. Hal Adonai tigmelu zot am naval velo chacham. Halo hu avicha kanecha hu asecha vayechonenecha. Instead of moving back there, we're going to take the card and put it up here so you can sing right into the microphone.
Okay. I need a little step stool. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah temet v'hayei olam natat b'tachenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
A very special. Wait, Eli.
Go away.
Where are you going? There's actually, that's what you're supposed to stay up after your aliyah because you don't want to appear that you're like running away from the Torah or running away from nice words that are going to be said about you. So we want to wish Eli a Yesher Koach and a Mazel Tov on the anniversary of your being called to the Torah 23 years ago for the first time. And 23 is a very important numerological number, not so much in Judaism, but in American culture. Michael Jordan, number 23. So this is your Michael Jordan anniversary of being called to the Torah. So Mazel Tov to you. And now you're sharing this parsha with Michael and Ruth Dubin Steinberg. So that's like the Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, Horace Grant triumvirate. I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, anyway, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
This is also the first time I'm being called up to the Torah by my chosen Hebrew name.
Yes.
So a lot of you knew me as Eliana Lirit, which is what my parents chose to name me. But I identify as non-binary. And so my chosen Hebrew name is now Eli Lev. So thank you for being part of that.
Great. So Eli, we are thrilled to be here with you and to be celebrating this, and thank you for that clarification as well. Okay. Yeah, stay over here.
So we begin,
Hold on, come stand over here. Or we'll have,
this microphone is a challenge.
we're not, I can't take it off.
I'll tell you, you know what we're going to do? Look at this. We are represented with resources. Here you go. You're going to get your own microphone.
Okay.
Don't spend it all.
Let's spend it all.
Okay, so we continue on page 1186 at verse 7. Okay. I got it.
Okay. Here, now stand in front of the mic. Oh, right. I'm sorry. Ya'amod Yaakov, right? Yaakov? Ben Eliezer v'Yona Sheni.
Baruch Adonai Barach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Barach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'harbanu mikol amin v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten Torah.
Amen. Zechor Yemot Olam. Binu Shenot Dor Vador. She'al Avicha v'yagetcha zechenecha v'yomru lach. Be'anchel elyon goyim b'hafrido b'nei Adam. Yatsev gevulot amim lemispar b'nei Yisrael. Ki chelek Adonai amo Yaakov chevel nachalato. Yimtzaehu be'eretz midbar ubetohu yelel yeshimon. Yesovevenhu yevon enehu yitzrenhu keishon eno. Kenesher yair kino. Al gozalav yirachef. Yifros kenafav yikachehu yisaehu al evrato. Adonai badad yanchenu ve'enimo el nechar.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayei olam nata b'tohenu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten Torah.
Amen. Pretend I shook your hand. Ta'amod Elisheva bat Yaakov u'Malka l'aliyah hashlishit. Let me find the
And we continue with verse 13. This is the third aliyah on page 1187.
right here.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamevora.
Baruch Adonai Barach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamevora leolam vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'chavanu mikol ha'amin ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
אמן. ירכיבהו על במותי ארץ ויאכל תנובות שדי ויניקהו דבש מסלע ושמן מחלמיש צור חמאת בקר וחלב צאן עם חלב קרים ואלים בני בשן ועתודים עם חלב כליות חיטה ודם עיניו תשתה חמר וישמן ישורון ויבעט שמנת אבית כסית ויטוש אלוה עשהו וינבל צור ישועתו יקניעוהו בזרים בתועבות יכיסוהו יזבחו לשדים לו אלוהים לא ידעום חדשים מקרב באו לו שערום אבותיכם צור ילדך תשי ותשכח אל מחוללך.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורה אמת וחי עולם נוטה בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen.
We want to wish Elisheva a Yesher Koach on her Aliyah, and it's great to have you as part of the Adat community, so we appreciate your membership here. and we look forward to many more hours praying together and studying together and laughing together and sharing together. And then I also want to just acknowledge, I was sort of sleeping on the job. I think that's a theme of today. We're all like sort of sleepwalking. Right, what is that?
Oiskedavin.
That's oiskedavin. Right, exactly. That's very, yeah. But I realized that Jim had an aliyah, and Jim, who is so deserving of an aliyah because he is the one who made sure that everyone was he and Peter and a whole crew of people made sure that everyone was in their place for the high holidays, and ushering people up and down and up, and which string to pull on the ark, and that one, this one, and we really appreciate that, Jim, especially considering that it was only several weeks ago that you had surgery for your hip, that you were hopping all around, and the sanctuary was sort of physically miraculous, and but also I think just underscores your commitment to this community. So thank you very much.
Classy acknowledgement. Okay, we continue with the fourth aliyah. You'll find it on page 1189, verse 19.
Ya'amod Aryeh
Ben Amitan Harav Chaya Miriam.
Ben Amitan ve
Harav Chaya Miriam.
Harav Chaya
Miriam.
Miriam Lalia Haravi'it.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Thank you.
Oops, sorry. Amen. Vayar Adonai vayinat mikas panav uvnotav. Vayomer astira panai mehem achritam kidor tapuchot hema banim lo emun bam hem kinuni velo el ki asuni bahavlehem va'ani akniem belo am ba begoy naval achisem ki esh kadcha biapi ותיקד עד שעות תחתית, ותאכל ארץ ויבולה, ותלהט מוסדי הרים, אספה עלימו רעות, חיצי אכלה בם, מזה רעב וחומי רשף וכתף מרירי, ושן בהמות אשלח בם, עם חמת זוחלי עפר, מחוץ תשקל חרב ומחדרים המה גם בחור גם בתולה יונק עם איש שיבה אמרתי אפיהם אשביתה מאנוש זכרם לולי כעס אויב הגור פן ינקרו צרמו פן יאמרו ידינו רמה ולא אדוני פעל כל זאת כי גוי עובד עצות המה ואין בהם תבונה.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah demet v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch Ata Adonai noten ha'Torah.
We want to welcome Aryeh to the Torah. Aryeh, first of all, Yesha Koach. And so you're wondering, Aryeh said Ben Harav, and then it was your mom's name, which I did. Chaya Miriam. So Rabbi Mary Zamor, who was with us just a few weeks ago, is Aryeh's mother, and Aryeh just moved to the area, so we're so pleased to have Aryeh. And I got permission that this was okay, but Aryeh is Sarah Marcus's boyfriend, and so it's just nice that he's here. So I asked if that's okay. You know, I don't want to, like, are you friends? Like, you know, I don't want to get into that whole thing. But anyway, it was Aryeh came. Sarah's reading a whole bunch of Torah for us, and so it was nice for Aryeh to show up. And you're not here just for the bagels, but that's okay. That's okay. Okay, it's a good bonus.
So this is the fifth Aliyah coming up. You'll find the verses starting at 29 on page 1190.
Ya'amod.
Rahman ben Shalom.
Is it Nachman?
Rahman.
Rahman ben Shalom. Chamishi. Where are we? Luchach, Luyaski, Luzot. It's over here somewhere. Here it is.
Baruch hu Adonai Baruch.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch. Bayan. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Baruch Adonai Ham Baruch. Baruch Adonai Ham Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torto. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. A little rusty.
Put your hand on here.
Sure.
Thank you.
Amen. Luchachmu yaski luzot. Yavinu lacharitam echa. Yirdof echad elef. Ushnayim yanisu revava. Im lo kituram michram vadonai hiskiram. Ki lo kiturenu tzuram ve'oivenu palilim. Ki migefen sidom gafnam umishadmot amora anavemo inve rosh ashkelot mirorot lamo chamat taninim yenam verosh pitanim achsar halohu kamus imadi chatum beotzrotai li nakam v'shilem le'e tamut raglai ki karov yom edam v'chash atidot lamo ki adin Adonai amo v'alavadav yitnachem ki azlat yad ve'efes atzur ve'ezuv ve'amar Elohemo tzur chasayuvo asher chelev zevachemo yochelu yishtu yein nesicham yakumu vayazruchem yehi alechem sitra reu ata ki ani hu ve'en Elohim imadi ani amit v'echye machatzti v'achaye machatzti v'ani erpa ve'en miadi matzil.
Take your seat, please.
Yes. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam notam etokenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen.
Yasher Torah. Go ahead around to the other side, please. So this is the sixth Aliyah. You can see she next to the number 40. That's verse 40.
Are you key? Yeah. Right? Okay. Yamdu. What? Daphna, bat Avram v'Sara Adam Menachem Mendel. Ben Shmuel Chaim Yehudit Miriam Laliyah Shishit. We're gonna need to be
One second, Sarah.
Yeah.
Have you touched the Torah? Okay, go for it.
Baruch hu et Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Barak Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'charbanu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu HaTorah.
Amen. Put your hands here.
Amen. כי אסר שמיים ידי ואמרתי חי אנוכי לעולם. אם שנותי ורחבי ותאחז במשפט ידי אשיב נקם לצרי ולמסני אשלם. אשכיר חצי מדם והרבי תאכל בשר מדם חלב ושביה מראש פרעות אויב. הנינו גויים עמו כי דם עבדיו יקום ונקם ישיב לצריו וכפר אדמתו עמו.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Take that show on the road. Head around. We're on the 7th Aliyah, which you can find on page 1193 at verse 44.
יעמוד דוד ישראל בן שמואל אליעזר ואסתר שביעי.
Right.
Baruch et Adonai Baruch.
Baruch Adonai Baruch L'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch L'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'chavanu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Toratav. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
אמן. ויבוא משה וידבר את כל דברי השירה הזאת באוזני העם הוא והושע בן נון. ויכול משה לדבר את כל הדברים האלה אל כל ישראל. ויאמר עליהם שימו לבבכם לכל הדברים אשר אנוכי מעיד בכם היום אשר תצוו מפניכם לשמור לעשות את כל דברי התורה הזאת. כי לא דבר ריק הוא מכם כי הוא חייכם ובדבר הזה תאריכו ימים אל האדמה אשר אתם עוברים את הירדן שמה לרשתה. וידבר אדוני אל משה בעצם היום הזה לאמור אל ההרים הזה הר נבו אשר בארץ מואב אשר פני ירחו וראה את ארץ כנען אשר אני נותן לבני ישראל אחוזה ומות בהר אשר אתה אלה שמה עולה שמה והאסף אל עמך כאשר מת אהרון אחיך בהור ההר ויאסף אל עמיו. אשמרתם בי בתוך בני ישראל וממריבת קודש מדבר צין על אשר לא קידשתם אותו בתוך בני ישראל כי מנגד תראה את הארץ ושמה לא תבוא אל הארץ אשר אני נותן לבני ישראל.
Beautifully done, Sarah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher noten lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam notah b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
We want to wish a Yesher Koach to David, and it's actually nice to have David and Manny up here at the same time because this is our daily minion dynamic duo. And so if you want to come visit them for Daily Minion, 7:30 on most mornings, 9 o'clock on Sundays. And so we want to wish them a Yesher Koach. The band is back together again. And we also want to acknowledge, and Marty, with your permission, can I quote you what you said? Okay, whatever you said. He said, "Rabbi, you are right." No, he said. He said about you. He said, "Boy, I thought he had yichus from his mom, but hearing Sarah read Torah, that's yichus, right?" So. Sarah, you did such a beautiful job. And for those of you who, but there's more. Free Ginsu knife. That we appreciate you reading Torah for us this morning, and also Sarah, for those of you who don't know, is also serving as our youth group advisor and helping us rebuild our youth department. So it's a pleasure to have you here on Shabbat, but also here all throughout the week with your energy and your exuberance. I especially love when you had to shift over in the Torah and you went to the tippy toes. So I feel like we should do better for you than you went to the tippy toes. So like you did like a darga. Okay. Anyway.
These are Adar Ariel tuition dollars at work.
That's it. Day school product. This is your day school at work. That's it. Yitkada v'yitkada shemei rabba.
Amen.
V'yamad yivrachi rutei v'yamlik malchutei. B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. Bagala uv'izman kariv imeru. Amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevorach le'olam u'le'omei omaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipor v'yitramah v'yinaseh v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei dekudesha v'yichu li'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata Tamiron biyama veimeru. Amen. Where is the maftir, Manny? No, in the book, Manny, in the book.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about the
page
honoree.
and the verse, Manny.
So page 1194, where it says maftir, at verse 48.
Thank you. Yamod abachora bar mitzvah. How many years? You don't have to answer that. 34 years. Melech Shimon ben Shmuel Yisrael Halevi. Maftir Chazak.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Barak Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Barak Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Notein HaTorah.
Amen. Vaydaber Adonai a Moshe בעצם היום הזה לאמור אלה said that אל ההרים הזה הר נבו אשר בארץ מואב אשר פני ירחו וראה את ארץ כנען אשר אני נותן לבני ישראל אחוזה ומות בהר אשר אתה עולה שמה והאסף אל עמך כאשר מת אהרון אחיך בהור ההר ויאסף אל עמיו אשר
אשר מלאתם בו בי בתוך בני ישראל בימי מריבת קודש במדבר צין על אשר לא קידשתם אותו בתוך בני ישראל כי מנגד תרואה את הארץ ושמה לא תבוא אל הארץ אשר אני נותן לבני ישראל.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayei olam nata b'tohinu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Judy, we should tighten it. Do you see how
Yes, yeah, we'll do that. It's really loose. Yamdu amagbiya v'ha kolele.
Please rise for the lifting and wrapping of the Sefer Torah.
Hold on, we're not done. This way a little bit first. Okay. Hold on.
Okay, and by the way, Chris, I'm a nice guy. Next week, I'm going to let someone else do hard work.
planning ahead?
I got it.
המאושר עץ חיים למחזיקים בה בתומכי המאושר דרכיה דרכי נועם וכל נתיבותיה שלום דרכיה דרכי נועם וכל נתיבותיה שלום איי לי 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 Yai la 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 Yai la 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 Yai la 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 I la 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 Yai la 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 Yai la 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 la
At this point in the service, we'll offer a bracha, a prayer for all of those in need of healing. So if you know of someone who is in need of healing, please rise in your place. And when I look in your direction, please share the name of the people for whom you're praying so we can all pray on their behalf. Misha Be'erach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah Hu Yivarach v'Yirapeh et HaCholim. HaKodesh Baruch Hu Yimlei Rachamim Aleihem L'Hachzikam L'Rupuatam V'Yishlach Lehem Refuah Shlema Min HaShamayim Refuat HaNefesh Refuat HaGuf B'To Sharei Echel Yisrael Hashtabagalav V'Zman Kariv and Omar Amen. At this point in the service, we're going to chant the Haftarah. The Haftarah for this morning can be found on page 1197. It's the from the second book of Samuel, and it's David kind of saying, "Thanks God, I made it out of here alive," after his encounter with Saul. And so as David recognizes God's strong hand in his arc through life, that sort of mirrors the Torah, which Moses has recognized God's presence in his days. And so they both are songs composed in recognition of God's guidance through their own lives. And that's why we read this Haftarah on the Shabbat. And again, it can be found on page 1197.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratza b'divreihem hanamarim be'emed. Baruch atah Adonai haborei b'Torah u'Moshe avdo u'v'Yisrael amo u'v'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek. Vaydeber David l'Adonai et divrei hashira hazot b'yom hitzil Adonai oto mikaf ka'ol avai umikaf Shaul vayomar Adonai salai sudati falti li Elohei tzuri echesed bo Magini vekeren yishii miskabi umnusi moshii mechamas toshieni mechulal ekra Adonai ume oyavai vaivashea ki afafuni mishparei mavet Nechalel v'liya'al vaya'atuni Chevle sha'ol sabuni Kidmuni mokshe mavet Batzarli ekra Adonai Ve'el Elohai ekra Vayishma mehachalo koli V'shava'ati ba'azanan Vayika'ash v'tirash ha'aretz Mosadot hashamayim yargazu Vayika'ashu ki haralo Ala asan ba'apo V'esh mipin tochel Gechalim ba'aru mimenu Vayet shamayim Vayarad Va'arafel tahat raglan Vayarkav al karu Vayaof Vayare al kanfe ruach Vayashet hoshech sibivotaiv sukot Hasharat mayim ave shachakim Minoga negdo Minoga negdo ba'aru gachale eish Yar aim min shamayim Adonai ve'eyalot yitain kolo Vayishlach hitzim Vayifitzim Barak Vayahom Veyera'u Afikaim Yam Yigalu Misadot Tevel Begarat Adonai Mini Shemat Ruach Apo Yishlach Mimaron Yikacheni Yam sheni mimayim rabim, yatzileni me'oyevi az misin I ki amtzu mimeni, ikadamuni b'yom edi, v'yahi Adonai nishan li, yotze lamerecha oti, Yachaletzeni ki chafetz bi, Yigmaleni Adonai katzid kati, Kevor yadai yashiv li, Ki shamrati darchei Adonai, Velo resha'ati me'elohai, Ki kol mishpatav lenegadi, Vehu kotan lo asur mimena, va'eya tamim lo, ve'esh tamre me'avoni, va'yeshev Adonai li katzid kati, kavori leneged einen, im chasid tit chasid, Im gibor tamim titamam, im navar titavar, ve'im ikesh titapal, ve'et am ani toshia, ve'ein necha aramim tashpil, ki ata neri Adonai, v'Adonai yagia harshki, ki v'cha Arutz gedud be'elohai adaleg shur, ha'el tamim darko, imrat Adonai tzerufa magen hu lecho hachosim bo, ki miel mi balade Adonai umitzur mi balade Eloheinu, ha'el ma uzi chayil, Vayater tamim darki, Mishaveh raglai ka'ayalot, Va'al bamotai ya'amideni, Milamed yadai lamilchama, Venichat keshet nechoshet zero otav, Vatiten li magen yishecha, Va'anotecha tarbeni, Tarhiv tzadi tachteni, V'lo ma'adu karsulai, Erdefa oyevai, Va'ashim deim, V'lo ashuv ad ka'alayal kalotam, Va'achalim, Ve'em chatzim, V'lo yekumun, Vayiflu tachat raglai, v'tazreini chayil lamilchama, tachriya kamai tachteni, v'oyevei tatali oref, misan I va'atzmitem, Yeshu ve'im Moshiach, El Adonai v'lo anam, Ve'esh chakem ka'afar aretz, Ketid chutzot eidekem arkeam, V'tafalteni meiravi ami, Tishmarani l'rosh goyim, Amlo yada'ati ya'avduni, B'nei nachar yikachashuli, Lishmoa ozen yishma'uli, B'nei nachar yibolu, B'yachgeru mimiskorotam, Chai Adonai uvaruk suri, V'yarum Elohai tzor yishii, Ha'el hanoten nikamot li, Umorid amayim tachteni, Umotzi'i me'oy yevai, umi kama taro mameni, meish hamasim tatzileni, al kain odecha Adonai bagoyim, olishimcha azamer, migdol Yeshuo malko, viose chesed limshicho, leDavid lizaro adolam. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, sor kahol amim, tzadik b'chol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer ve'oseh, ha'medaber umkayim, shebachol devarav, emet v'tzedek. Ne'eman atahu Adonai Eloheinu, v'ne'emanim devarecha, v'debar echad midvarecha, ahor lo yoshuv rekam, Ki el melech ne'eman v'rachaman ata, baruch atah Adonai, ha'el ha'ne'eman b'chol devarav. Rachem al Tzion ki hi beit chayenu, v'la'aluvat nefesh toshia b'mhera v'yameinu, baruch atah Adonai, misameach Tzion bevanecha. Samcheinu Adonai Eloheinu bialhu hanavi avdecha umalchu beit David meshichecha b'mheira yavo v'yagel libenu al kisiot lo yeshev zar v'lo yanchulu od al rachamim et kvodo ki v'shem kodshecha nishba'ata lo shelo Yechbo Nero Leolam Va'ed Baruch Atah Adonai Magen David Al HaTorah V'al HaVodah V'al HaNvi'im V'al Yom HaShabbat Hazeh Shenatata Lanu Adonai Eloheinu Likdusha V'limnucha Lechavod Ul Tifaret Al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach umvarchim otach yibarach shimcha b'fi kol hai tamid leolam va'ed baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat.
Amen. Tell everyone.
Yes.
Okay. Michael has something to say.
So
Nice
that
and
was
loud into the microphone.
hello. So that was sung in Sephardic trope because I was bar mitzvahed at, even though I'm Ashkenazic, was bar mitzvahed at a Sephardic synagogue, Mikveh Israel, in Philadelphia, for a number of reasons, which, as of last night, you'll now have to wait to hear in next year's Yom Kippur appeal, because I suckered Eric into letting me give it. Yes, so that was my bar mitzvah portion, September 24th, 1988. In Sephardi trope, which I actually think sounds better than Ashkenazi trope for this one because it is a poem and it flows better, but that's just my preference, so thank you.
We want to wish Michael Yesher Koach, and if you want to do a Haftarah, chant a Haftarah, either in Sephardi or Ashkenazi, we're not particular. You speak to Michael. Michael is the...
Yes. I'm now taking reservations from late November through the beginning of the year. We do have a fair amount of bar and bat mitzvahs later this year and in March and April next year, but anybody who's interested, please let me know. You have plenty of time. There's plenty of resources from Cantor Aronoff and online. And the good thing is, as opposed to Torah, the vowels are all here.
Okay, very good. All right.
Yes.
So we'll Yesher Koach to Michael, and we're going to now continue with our service as we're going to offer a prayer for our country, and that can be found on page 177, page 177 towards the bottom of the page. May it be your will that our land be a blessing to all who dwell on earth, and may you cause all peoples to dwell in friendship and freedom. Speedily fulfill the vision of your prophets. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. For all of them, from the least of them to the greatest, shall know me. And let us say, Amen.
Amen.
and then let's offer a prayer for Medinat Yisrael, our homeland, the state of Israel. If you are thinking of signing up for a Haftarah, but then wondering what you'd like to do later on that year, you can sign up to come to a multi-generational trip to Israel this summer. So this coming July, I forget the particular dates, they're listed in the publicity materials, but this July there's a multi-generational trip to Israel. So for those of you here who have grandchildren, if you'd like to take your grandchildren on a tour of Israel, that would be lovely. If you'd like to take your kids on a tour of Israel, we'd love to have you. If you'd like to come and leave your grandkids and your kids at home, we'd love to have you. That actually sounds very nice. So anyway, and then there's another opportunity to visit Israel. Many of you heard Eva and Moniz during the break on Yom Kippur, and we are also sending a delegation this year to March of the Living. So for the first time in 3 years, the March of the Living now will be back, and it's an opportunity to visit the roots of the Shoah in Poland, and then to make our way for Israel, where we'll be in Israel for Yom Ha'atzmaut, for the 75th birthday of Israel. So it's going to be really very special. So information also for that you can find online on our website, or just talk to me if you'd like. And for those of you, there's several of you who want to sign up. The actual sign up, Moniz just needs to get us the link once it's activated and we're ready to go. Okay, so a prayer for the state of Israel, page 178. Let's read together in the Hebrew. Avinu Sheba Shamayim, Tzor Yisrael v'Goalo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Tzmi'ichat Gulatenu, Hagen Alea be'avrat chastecha, Ufros Alea Sukat Shlomecha, Ushlach Orcha v'Amicha l'Rashea, Sarea v'Yoatzea, V'takneim be'etza tova milfanecha, Chazek et Yedei Mignei Eretz Kodshenu, V'anchilem Eloheinu Yeshua, V'yateret nitzachon te'atrem, V'natata shalom ba'aretz, V'simchat olam yoshvea, V'nomar Amen. And may Israel continue to be a source of peace for us and for the entire world. And let us say Amen. We'll continue with Ashrei at page 181.
Ashrei yoshvei veitecha, od yalelucha sela. Ashrei am shekach lo, Ashrei am shenonai lo, avdi la David ornim chalom. Tila Taranai Dabir Pi Vivarech Kol Basar Shem Kodsho Leolam Va'ed V'anachnu Nevarech Ya Me'ata V'yad Olam Hallelujah.
Please rise, page 183, Hallelujah.
Yehalelu et Shem Adonai, ki niskav Shemo levado, hodo al eretz v'shamayim, vayaren keren leyamo, tila lechol chasidav, libnei Yisrael. Hallelujah, hallelujah, Mizmor le-David, Habul Adonai b'nei Elim, Habul Adonai kavod la'oz, Habul Adonai kevod shemo, Yishtachavu Adonai behadrat kodesh, Kol Adonai alamayim el kavod irib, Adonai alamayim rabim. Kol Adonai ba'koach, Kol Adonai be'adar, Kol Adonai shover arazim, Vaishaber Adonai et arzei halvanon, וירקידם כמו עגל לבנון וסריון, כמו בן רעמים. כל אדוני חוצב להבות אש, כל אדוני יחיל מדבר, יחיל אדוני מדבר קדש, כל אדוני יכול לעלות, ויחשוף יערות ובהיכלו, כולו אומר כבוד. אדוני למבול ישב וישב אדוני מלך לעולם. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן. Because it wasn't. בשלום ובנוחו יאמר, שובן הנרפות הפייס רב כי לקח טוב נתתי לכם, תורתי אל תעזובו, עץ חיימי למחזיקים בה. תומכי המאושר, תרחיה דרכי נועם, וכל נתיבותיה שלום. השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה. חדש חדש ימינו, חדש ימינו לקדם.
We can all be seated. This morning's darshan is Adam Goldman, and Adam has already perked my interest from earlier in the morning when he told me a little bit of what he's planning to do. So I think we'll all find this very interesting. So we appreciate Adam taking the time for what promises to be. I'm curious how he makes this link. You'll see, but we're all waiting with bated breath now. But it's my pleasure to call upon Adam Goldman this morning's darshan.
Good morning. All right. So thanks for the introduction. I have to say that having the rabbi introduce the parsha today with his quick talk and ending it with, what does that have to do with anything? Who knows? So I hope that you might walk away from this feeling the same way. Okay. On a cool November day, Edward Everett stood and spoke for over 2 hours. He spoke about the U.S. Army, compared it to some great Greek battles, and then he discussed how enemies can reconcile. He was then followed by President Abraham Lincoln, who, in just over 2 minutes, harkens back to the founding of the country, consecrates the cemetery, redefines the Civil War, and establishes his new vision of the country in an address considered one of the greatest in history. Everett would write to Lincoln, and Everett was a well-renowned orator and speaker, and he wrote to Lincoln the next day saying, "I should be glad if I could flatter myself that I came as near to the central idea of the occasion in 2 hours as you did in 2 minutes." And while we call this the Gettysburg Address, if you read it again, it is poem and prayer combined. Lincoln challenges his audience to endure while knowing that they are standing on holy land. But a turning point for the Union after that battle. Lincoln eloquently transforms the Union cause into a struggle for liberty and equality in only 272 words. So if you will indulge me, I'm going to read those 272 words. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty, and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation
or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives, that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it, far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. I had to memorize in the 6th grade. I don't know if they do that anymore. So with today's Parsha, Ha'azinu, Moses gets his Gettysburg Address. In one short poem, he recounts almost the entire Exodus story in a torrent of metaphors. God gave you this land, you became self-centered and took its benefits and bounty for granted. You lost the land, and then God came back and destroyed your enemies to get you back to the land. That's the poem. And then the Parsha continues, and then he says, to be sure to teach this to your children, another Jewish standard. Then God repeats why Moses isn't allowed in the land that God is giving to the children of Israel. Really, it just hits on every basic tenet of Judaism. And it's a strong lead into the final chapter, which is the handoff to Joshua and the tribes, and then the death of Moses. The loss of the land is all couched in the understanding that commitment to the Torah and its teachings, including the challenging ones, is what will maintain your relationship with God and that land. Yeah, I found this quote from Paul Newman, who was son of a Jewish father and a Catholic mother, who always identified as Jewish, because he said, it's more of a challenge. So then both Ha'azinu and Lincoln end with statements that are very unique. Ha'azinu says, the land that I am giving to the Israelite people. And Lincoln, as we just read, is government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. And then relatedly, way back in Parsha Yitro, in something unique to Judaism, the revelation occurs to all the people, not any one person, all of them. And these massive defining pivot points, revelation, re-entry to the land, those are given to all the people. The Torah makes that clear. And then in our Constitution opens with we, the people. And then how do we refer to criminal cases? It's the people versus whoever. Chung chung. Thank you. Rashi comment, I found a Rashi comment that seems as American as it is Jewish. After making you a special nation, God established you upon every kind of firm base and foundation. Your priests are from among yourselves. Your prophets are from among yourselves. And your kings are from among yourselves. Indeed, you are like a city from which all resources are drawn. But the people can be unpredictable and idiosyncratic. So for all its strong words, I think the Torah allows for those idiosyncrasies of the people. Last week in Vayelech, we were instructed to read this teaching every 7th year at the Feast of Booths at Sukkot. But the commentary on that page notes that because Sukkot came after the harvest, the people would feel secure about their food supply and could learn without that worry hanging over their heads. So there's an understanding that the people's personal lives will get in the way. About 2,500 years ago, Ezra determines that the best time to read the Torah is on the market days when the most people are out and about. It's kind of a will come to you thinking. Our rabbis recognize that satisfying the demands of everyday life and the demands of God require some give and take and change. And Ha'azinu asks that we observe faithfully, not absolutely, not unquestionably, not as a performance, but faithfully. And for the lawyers, right, there's a concept of there's a good faith exception in Supreme Court law, and for your negotiation, you want to negotiate in good faith. Everything isn't perfect, but we trust that each party knows what the other is expecting. And it is some of these changes and these new ways of enjoining the teachings that make being Jewish so interesting and sometimes even fun to me. Ha'azinu opens with Moses speaking of discourse coming down as the rain. We got it. We have commentaries, and then commentaries on commentaries. And actually, my favorite part of the Chumash, sometimes I'm not paying attention, is because I'm reading the commentaries and all the extra readings. And we make changes all the time. Back in 2015, the governing body of conservative Judaism overturned an 800-year-old ruling that kitniot were banned on Passover. That ruling was only 800 years old. And then me personally, I did not see a choir at high holiday services until I moved out here. Maybe it's an East Coast, West Coast thing. And now how many of you put an orange on your Seder plate? And then our friend Sharon introduced us to the Rosh Hashanah Seder. I had no idea one existed. So if you've got your 10 Jews, you can do almost anything, anywhere. Returning to Lincoln, his opening line, we are dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. And it is for us, the living. Now we are engaged in a great civil war. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work and the great task remaining before us. He makes it clear. The founders are long dead. They had a great idea. I'm sorry. He had a great idea, and if we're still fighting, then we must not be done. And he never defines what liberty or equality is. That's going to change. In both Moses and Lincoln's case, in both Moses's and Lincoln's cases, it is the people who are tasked with the burden of maintenance. The words have to be enjoined upon the children. And those who left Egypt aren't the ones returning to the land. Many of them died in the 40 years in the desert. And Lincoln memorializes those who here gave their lives so that the nation might live. So there's no more Moses, no more demigod Pharaoh, remember the Jews keep whining to go back to Pharaoh. There's no more slavery in the land, no more waiting. It is up to the living to figure out how to do better and to engage in that struggle. From the portion, Kilo davar rek he hu mikem ki hu chayechem. For this is not a trifling thing for you, it is your life. And the history of the country mirrors Ha'azinu. Lincoln, like Moses, gets to see the journey finish in the war won, but does not enter the land to see how it handles its new birth of freedom. Quick history lesson. On April 9, 1865, Lee surrenders to Grant, effectively ending the war, and 5 days later, Lincoln is assassinated. Lincoln's Joshua, President Grant, put huge energy behind Reconstruction. He was a staunch abolitionist, but his wife came from a family of slavers. Grant knew that a change was going to be difficult. It would require a commitment of the people's time, money, and energy to instill this rethinking of what our country would become. There had been slavery on this land for 246 years, but just because the war was over doesn't mean minds had been changed. To use the language of Moses, the South kept kicking, the North grew gross and coarse, and in 1877, just 12 years after the end of the war, Reconstruction was abandoned. And now a full 11 years since we brought forth in this new nation, and thousands of years since crossing the Jordan, we still struggle to define Americanism and Judaism. Is it originalism, textualism, intentionalist, pragmatist, natural law, living constitution, living Torah? All are right and all are wrong, and things change quickly and they change slowly. We are continually reinterpreting our foundational documents in an attempt to faithfully observe them. And so it is time that we are about to finish the Torah. But we don't close the book and put it on the shelf. We go back and start again. We, as Ha'azinu starts, we give ear to hear parts we missed or new interpretations of old commentaries. We struggle through the hard parts, and we find new ways to keep learning, so that we shall long endure in the land, and that this nation shall long endure. Shabbat shalom. That work?
We want to wish Adam a Yisher Koach. I think what a thoughtful reminder of the fluidity of both our American traditions as well as the fluidity of our Jewish traditions, and that fluidity, of course, stems from us, from the citizens or from the people, from citizens or from Amcha, and so I thank you for that very interesting and well done comparison, and I think we all appreciated it. We're going to continue in our service on page 184 with the Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah Be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei B'chayechon uvyomechon ובחיי דרכו בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יש מרבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי יומיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודש הבריחו לעילמין כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן ביעלמה ויאמרו ויאמרו אמן ויאמרו amen.
Please rise. The Musaf Amidah can be found beginning on page 185.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Agadol Agibor ve'Anora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Akol V'Zocher Chastei Avot V'Imahot U'Mevi Goel Ibnei V'neihem Lema'an Shemo B'Yahava Melech Ozer Ufoked U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ufoked Sarah Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai Mechayim Eitim Atah Rav Lehoshia Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed Mechayim Eitim Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim Umatir Asurim Umekayem emunato lishenei afar michamocha ba'gevurot umidom melach melech memit umechayeh umatzmiach Yeshua v'ne'emanat alachayot metim baruch atah Adonai Mechayei ametim na'aritzecha v'na'akdishcha kesod siach sarpei kodesh hamakdishim shimcha ba'kodesh kakatuv al yad neviecha v'kara zeh el zeh ve'yamar kadosh 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 Adonai Tzvaot Meloch kol haaretz kevodo כבודו מלא עולם, משרתיו שואלים זה לזה, איה מקום כבודו, לעומתם ברוך יאמרו, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו הוא יפן ברחמים, ויחונם המייחדים שמו, ערב ובוקר בכל יום תמיד, פעמיים באהבה שמע אומרים, שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד, הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו, והוא ישמיענו ברחמיו שנית לעיני כל חי, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ובדברי קודשך כתוב לאמור, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו בפינוי מושל לעולם ועד, כי המלך גדול וקדוש אתה ברוך, אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Do you want this? Yes. When you finish your Amidah, you can be seated.
Don't often get a chance to sing Yismachu at the top of 189, so let's give it a shot today. 189 at the top. Yismechu b'malechutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu b'malechutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, v'korei oneg Shabbat. Mekadeshei, Mekadeshei Shevi Shabbat, Kulam Yisbeu ויתנגו מטובך שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת והשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת חמדת ימים אותו קראת זכר למעשה וראשית שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת יתקרא ויתקרא שמי רבה ביאמה דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון ובימיכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל בעגלה וזמן קריב ימרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עולמי יתברך וישתבח ויתפור ויתרומם וינשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו לי אלה מכל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בימה ויאמרו אמן תתקבל צלותון ובלתון לכל ישראל קודם אבהוני ושמעיה ויאמרו אמן יהי שלום רב מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ויאמרו amen.
Continue with Ein Keloheinu on page 204.
Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Mi Keloheinu, Mi Kadonenu, Mi Kemalkeinu, Mi Kemoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Malkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu.
Please rise for Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ מושב יקרה בשמיים ממעל ושכינתו זו בגובהי מרומים הוא אלוהינו אין עוד מלכנו אפס זולתו ככתוב בתורתו וידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך כי אדוני הוא אלוהים השמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד כן נקבל לך אדוני אלוהים למרות מרב בדיבר הזה תקנו למה מלכות שנה וכו' כי המלכות שלך היא ולעולמי תמלוך בכבוד ככתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
And lo, love, we recall those who no longer walk this earth, and we are grateful to God for the gift of their love and for the cherished memories that never fade. This week, we as a congregational community mourn the passing of David Henry Bernstein, the father of Michael Bernstein. And we laid David to rest yesterday. And I think his family, who may be watching online, certainly found great comfort in all the laughs and love that David shared as a collector of not only wonderful objects, but a collector of great memories and relationships with people. We continue to mark the Shloshim, the 30 days since the passing of Yael Chaya Strauss-Dinner and Gay Horowitz. And on this coming week, we as a community will mark the Yurtzeits of Irene Shapiro, Sidney Simons, Harriet Staub, Hugo Alexander, Alex Feinberg, Joseph Finkelbrand, Bessie Fuerst, Edie Hertz, Louis Jaffe, Lydia Greenberg-Kitchuk, Robert Lee Richardson, Alan Bloomfield, Morris Jacob Burton, Dorothy Friedman, Manuel Lieber, Jean Redstone, Anna Sigmund, Jordan Barnes, Adolf Bazol, Bruce Allen Davidson, Frank Fishkin, Sim Gelfand, Marcia Kellerman, Miriam Sheldon, Eli Superstein, Lauren M. Fife Jr., Regina Slomiak, Mary Stavros, Trudy Weber, Sidney Dermer, Pearl Greenswag, Estel Rudolph, Lily Schoenberger, Sylvia Marcus Seamus, Mary Weinberg, Moa Tan Wu, Lon Yankowski, Jack Genezovi, Joseph Hennig, Jacob Josephsberg, Goldie Linaski, Lena Berkowitz Tepperman, Mildred Wagner. Is there anyone else observing a yurtzeit for someone I didn't mention? Okay. I'd like to ask those of you who are in mourning or observing a yurtzeit to please rise as we sanctify God's name with the words of Mourner's Kaddish on page 207. Yit Gadal v'Yit Shemei Rabbah Bialma Divra Kirute V'Yamlich Malchute B'Chayechon Uv'Yomechon Uv'Chaye Dechol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala V'Zman Kari V'Imru Amen Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mvrach Le'elam Olmei Olmaya Yitbarach V'Yishtabach V'Yipa'ar V'Yitromam V'Yitnaseh V'Yitadar V'Yitaleh V'Yitalal Shmei Dekudisha B'Richu Le'ela Minko Birchata V'Shirata Tush Bechata V'Nechemata Damiram B'Alma V'Imru Amen Yehi Shalom Rabba Min Shemaya V'Chaim Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Imru Amen Oseh Shalom B'Ramav Huya Aseh Shalom Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Al Kol Yoshvei Tevel V'Imru Amen. May the memories of our loved ones be a source of comfort and blessing, and let us all say Amen. I'm going to turn things over to Rosalie Pechersky, who is representing our lay leadership with some words of gratitude and announcements.
I'll go for it. Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach, everybody. Even before I thank everybody for participating, I want to say something, a postscript to what Adam presented. I thought it was very lovely about the Gettysburg Address. And let me ask a question. How many of you have been to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania here? Have you walked the entire cemetery? Well, not the entire, but let me tell you, when Gary, my husband, and I had gone there a number of years ago, I was blown away. I'm a history buff, but when you get there and you see it, it brings tears to your eyes. The number of monuments that are there, it's like almost every half inch. There's there's some, something that reminds you how terrible the war was itself. And when Lincoln had written his Gettysburg Address, he was probably floored by the whole situation as well. And perhaps that's why the Gettysburg Address is so short. It's to the point. And from what I understand, he wrote it on the train on the way to Gettysburg, made it very short and very poignant. So even when I read that over and over, it does bring tears to my eyes. The other thing I want to comment on, and I think, Adam, you may have said something about Appomattox, when the war ended and Lee and Grant were at the courthouse. And so the story goes that Lee, Robert E. Lee, very prim and proper Virginian, he came from an illustrious family of Virginia, shows up in his uniform, all spiffy, as my husband would say. And Grant shows up in a soiled uniform, he just, and it's amazing that when they went into the courthouse and Lee expected, what kind of reparations do we have to pay? Grant said, "Go home, boys. That's all we want." And that's what Lincoln told him. Lincoln said to Grant, who's a very loyal supporter, "Just tell the South, the boys, to go home to their families." And that was it. They laid down their guns, their rifles and all, and just went home. And I thought that was such a beautiful thing. And that brought, maybe I'm just a very tearful person, but that brought tears to my eyes too. I said that, and yes, so Grant was president and very much involved in the Reconstruction, and there were many reasons why it didn't work. The fact that the South still retained some animosity about losing, well, who wouldn't? But still, it took many years to rectify some of that. In some ways, maybe it hasn't completely happened. The South still remembers, still has the flag of the Civil War, etc., in several places. But anyway, that's my history buff postscript to you. So that was beautiful. I really enjoyed it. Okay, now to the real stuff, which is to thank everybody today. I do not have a list. When Adam spoke to me, he said, it'll be there. And so I think I have to wing it. So if I forget anybody, please remind me. So we have to thank our darshan, Adam. Do you have a list? What? Thank you. Here it is. Okay. So I want to thank all of you who participated today in our service this morning. Adam, of course. Goldman, our Torah readers, bless you, you just sneezed. Cantor, Judy Dubin Aronoff, Sarah, with your friend, yes, there, who I met recently, lovely couple. Our Haftorah, Michael Rosenzweig, Torah readers, I didn't finish, yes, I did. I said Cantor, Judy Dubin Aronoff, and Sarah Marcus. And Haftorah, Michael Rosenzweig, Aliyah coordinator Jim Lesserman. I'm glad you're healing. Gary, where are you? Okay, thank you, Gary. You're not listed here. But I thank you anyway. We all thank you. All right, Gabayi, Manny, Aftergood, and Joette Labinger. And what else do I do? Oh, I have the announcements for... do you want to do that in terms? Yeah, bingo night. We're going to have adult education. Oh, yes. Thank you. Oh, yeah, you too. Yeah. Okay. No, I know you remember everything, though. Who did the Aliyah? Okay, folks, this is not the comedy hour, but I'll take it. All right. So, Adad has many activities lined up, and there was no mention of the Sukkot. Were you going to say something about that? Okay. And let's see. And since I'm an MID co-chair with Susie, where are you? I have to put in a plug for MID. This year, all three rabbis are teaching. We have a wonderful historical program. I'm a history buff, so for me, but I won't cry when the rabbis give their presentations about history. I'll be very alert and totally enjoy it. So we have a good program that's lined up for anybody who hasn't signed up for MID. It isn't just for women. You men can also attend, and we have quite a few of you. And I dragged my husband to it, and he seems to like it very much. So, Jim, I know you're newly retired. You might be interested in MID. And for those of you already retired who haven't thought of MID, we invite you. Okay, so adult education, as we enter the new year, we are proud to announce our adult education classes for the coming year. Exploring Exodus, well, that's good. Who's going to do that? Exploring Exodus. Are you going to do that? Good. You're a wonderful teacher. I have taken quite a few of your classes. I said this isn't a comedy hour, but I guess it is with me up here. So I mentioned MID and bingo night. Who's Men of a Dot? Who's the chair of that anyway? Sam Lambeck. Okay, so Men's Club is back, full force, and they're having bingo night, and that's Saturday, October 22nd. Let me see.
Rabbi Alexander, is
you know
there?
something, this is an interactive presentation, isn't it? So anybody can say what they want, so. I think they can just look at the website and, yes.
So actually, Rabbi Alexander is giving a Saturday afternoon shiur. We're recognizing that Saturday afternoon, for many people here, is a really great time to sit and learn. And so, Rabbi Alexander, when are you starting on? November 5th. So, beginning of November, is that written down there?
You come to shul, you have a
Yeah, you
bissel
come-
lunch, and then you
right.
go into wherever room they tell us to.
I don't see.
And we study Talmud with Rabbi Alexander.
So what we're going to do, and again, it's after Sukkot and all the holidays are done, we're going to change the way we do the Kiddush luncheons, and you'll get an email about this when it's launching, the precise date. But basically what we're going to do is we as the synagogue, we think it's important to eat together. So what we're going to do is we as the synagogue are going to provide bagels and cream cheese and like water and tea and coffee. Is that written there?
Coffee is not there, but it should be. Yeah.
Anyway, so we'll provide all of that, and then every week people can sign up to bring salads or tuna fish. You can make it in your house as long as it's vegetarian.
Not vegetarian tuna, but whatever.
Well, whatever.
Pescatarian? Yeah, it is.
Whatever. No meat, no meat,
Chalavi.
no meat.
Chalavi.
Milchik.
Okay. Right. So anyway, you'll get emails about that. So please sign up, and we hope that you'll be part of that. All right. Anything else?
Okay, yeah, just, this is not funny, folks. This is important. Just pick up, if there are enough copies out there, you haven't picked one up yet, it has a whole listing of different programs here. So that you can attend. So that's good. Those I have not mentioned. So I don't know if you'll have me up here again because people want to be serious, and I'm not very serious. But it is after Yom Kippur, so we can have fun.
You did great. I actually think not only are we going to have you up, Rosalie, I'm just wondering when you're signing up to be the darshan. I think you would do would everyone not agree that Rosalie would do an excellent job? Let's give Rosalie
No pressure.
Okay, no pressure. So anyway, we are now.
But I have a question. Rabbi, did she mention Sukkot services on Monday and Tuesday?
She didn't mention Sukkot services on Monday morning or Tuesday morning or on Friday. The Chai Neighbors Sukkah event is Thursday evening. Thursday evening, the preschool, the JLC is going to be in the sukkah on Tuesday night. The Wednesday night there's another group in the sukkah on Wednesday night. I can't remember. They're in the sukkah. The Thursday night's the sukkah. Friday night the Wednesday night is the preschool's in the sukkah. Friday night we're having pizza in the hut. And you probably saw that blatant ripoff of the Pizza Hut logo, which we will deny any prior. But we're doing pizza in the hut. That's part of Family Fridays. And the hut's in the sukkah. Yeah. Okay. And so we're going to do that. And then there's Simchat Torah coming up. Shmini Atzeret. Go ahead, Sarah. What do you got?
Come here.
Yeah, this is longer than services, but
For Simchat Torah, okay, we're having a Torah rollout on Monday night. If you want to sign up, if you want to relive your glory days like Eli and Michael Rosenzweig did today, you can sign up to read any part of the Torah you want.
Well, let me clarify that. To read a portion of the Torah. Let's say you read a portion for your bar or bat mitzvah. Let's say you participated and you read Torah at Minyan or on a Shabbat morning or something. Let's say you read on the high holidays. doesn't matter when you read, I'm speaking to you and to you. Anybody who wants to read Torah, a few verses even, one verse even, whatever it is, let us know. And the easiest way to let us know is by
signing up on the Adad Ariel website. There's a very easily navigated Google form where you can put exactly what you want to do on it.
And or you can email me.
Yeah.
Whatever works for you. Thank you for that.
No.
No cheat sheets with vowels because we're going to be standing
So this is the
up.
thing. We're going to unwrap the entire Torah, and we're going to put all the kids in the middle. And then I'm going to tell the story of the Torah, and interspersed with that, people are going to read little portions of the Torah. That's going to be our Torah reading on Simchat Torah. So that is how we're going to... That's the morning. That's the evening. I'm sorry, the evening. That's the evening. So you'll get emails about that after we get sued by Pizza Hut for our... Okay. With that, we'll ask everyone to please... Well, you don't have to rise for Adon Olam, but if you want to stretch, you can. And Adon Olam is on the next page.
Yam ba da 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 yam ba da 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 yam ba da 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 Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra v'yet nasa b'chefzo kol azay melech shemo nikra yam ba da 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 yana na 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 yam ba da 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 ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה ים בדאי די 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 ים בדאי די 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 ים דאי די 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 והוא אחד ואין שני להמשילו להכבירה בלי ראשית בלי תכלית ולא העוז והמשרה ים בדאי די 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 ים בדאי די 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 והוא אלי וחי גואלי וצורכב לי בעת צרה והוא ניסי ומנוס לי מנת כוסי ביום אקרא ים בדאי די 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 ים בדאי די 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 בידו הפקיד רוחי בהייתי שם ואירה ואם רוחי גביעתי אדוני לי ולא אירא ים בדאי די 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 ים די 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 ים בדאי די 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 די
On Yom Kippur, the grape juice was spoiled, so this and they made amends. They did tshuva by putting it on ice today. Look at that; it's beautiful. All right, please rise. Al Kaim Berach Adonai Yom HaShabbat Yikadshehu Savri.
L'chaim.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Borei Pri HaGafen. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Tishanu B'Mitzotav V'Tzivanu Al Netilat Yadayim. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Hamotzi Lechem Min Haaretz. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I've been nervous with that Torah.
The Kiddush is outside, everyone. Rosalie, you are funny with the microphone.
In Yiddish, they say, "My friend is kind cautious." Don't ask any questions.
So things are always contextual. It's very straight out all the way.
Right.
He's here for 5 It's two different animals. Stevens all over Florida. They've gotten over that.
I'm so glad. We hadn't seen him, and I got worried. No, I know. Okay, good.
Take care.
Shana Tova.
My dentist in Israel was the president of the Israeli Mechalet Society. So I was getting a root canal and he gave me a whole lecture on it.
I'm going to give you a skeptical view of Chabad. We have found Chabad from ancient times.
Yeah.
And from Israel, from Second Temple
Right.
period, and from Palmyra.
Right.
And they did what they call the dibromide test. The real Chabad, everyone has to have this dibromide compound.
Right. It didn't have it.
And we found 2,000-year-old fake Chabad was so much cheaper.
Yeah.
So it's unless you're going to really do the test. Okay, it's fine. That's why I tell every
What is the Chalad? Chalad is what we accept.
Chalad, basically, the rabbi said it's so easy